Hey, church family, Garin here. I hope you're doing well today. I just wanted to send a message just to say hello, share a thought with you, remind you a couple things about Sunday, that kind of thing. What was on my brain, some of you know, most of you know, if you've heard me preach or talk for more than 28 seconds straight about anything that doesn't have to do with, the Bible or whatever, it's probably about sports. I love sports. I follow them. I have since I was a kid. Well, not too long ago, the quarterback for the New Orleans Saints is a guy named Drew Brees, and he came out and made some comments that really ruffled the feathers of some of his teammates. And as for the particular comments, that's actually not what this is about. If you heard them and saw them and have a thought about them and want to, personal message me, I'd love to, I'll chat with you about it. But that's immaterial. But he said some things that really hurt the feelings of some of his teammates and some of his former teammates, and he was immediately publicly made to regret those decisions. And so what's interesting is he came back later and he kind of made an apology about that. And I've been listening to Colin Cowherd, is a sports guy, and he has interviewed a couple of either former teammates of Drew Brees or not even one of them, Gerald McCoy, who played for the Panthers for a while, wasn't even a teammate of Brees, but just played in the division with Drew Brees. And they said, well, hey, what do you make of Drew Brees' comments and specifically, what do you make of his apology about that? And here's what I found very interesting, and maybe you saw this too. Both Gerald McCoy and Reggie Bush, who, had familiarity with Drew Brees, said, look, I know Drew Brees. And they kind of, each of them rattled off how it is that they know him personally. And for McCoy, Drew kind of reached out to him along the way, even though he wasn't on his team, and Reggie Bush, that kind of thing. And both of them, each of them, independently said, I know Drew Brees. Drew Brees is a great guy. Drew Brees has done more for the city of New Orleans, and he is sincere in what he says. If he said, I'm sorry, I believe that he's sorry, and I'm going to go on about my business, and we're going to be friends. And I thought about that, and I've heard other people say things about Drew Brees. Some of them know him personally, some of them just kind of from afar. But I did find it interesting that the people who knew him personally were very quick to forgive him because they know what kind of person he is. And I thought about that, and I thought about all that's going on in the world, and I thought, how true is that? That when you sit down with somebody and you really get to know them, and you get to know them personally, and especially when it's somebody like Drew Brees, who's just seemingly a good person who, just supports people and loves people and does a lot for the city and just has a good heart. At least, that's what people say about him, that when he comes out and says, look, I'm sorry for what it is that I said, that people who know him say, yeah, I get it. I mean, none of us always say clearly what it is that we're trying to say. I forgive you, of course. And I wonder how far that would go in the world in which we live right now. Like that personal knowledge of someone. And I really think that's the things that I've seen online and what matters the most. I think that the way that the world is changing in significant ways is when we get to know someone specifically, right? And we hear their hearts and even people that we disagree with. And that's not even necessarily like, hey, they said something that's wrong and we need to forgive them, or we said something that's wrong and they need to forgive us. Just in general, when we know somebody, we go, no, I know them. And the kind of person that they are is the kind of person who, even if I disagree with them, or even if, we don't see eye to eye on things, that I can love them. And I can accept what it is that they are trying to do in the world, which is be a better person and be, in our instance, we would say, be a closer follower of Jesus and be a better Christian. And I loved that. And when I heard, Gerald McCoy and Reggie Bush talk about that and how they were so quick to take up for the person that they knew, even though he said something they didn't like. I thought that speaks to me about the power of personal relationships and about the power of knowing someone and loving them, and how when we get to know people, that issues aren't just issues, that they're persons behind them. So I share that with you today to give you an encouragement that as we go forward in the world that is changing each and every day, that I think the power is going to lie in, and the power that we're going to have to rely on is that power of personal relationships, of getting to know somebody who's different from us. And when we do, that we'll be able to see that this is bigger than maybe how I'm painting it, and how they're taking it is different than how I've always understood it. And maybe I could become somebody new and more like who I'm trying to be. Anyway, that's my thought for the day. I hope you'll join us on Sunday. Listen, we're going to share communion on Sunday, and the topic that we're going to talk about on Sunday is one that we all deal with. I promise it's going to be so very relevant. So come and join us Sunday for worship at 11 o'clock. Bring your communion elements with you. Get together your bread or your crackers beforehand, your juice, your wine, whatever you have with you there, and bring that to worship on Sunday. And at the point in the service, you'll be directed as to when we'll share those together. We share them not in person, but we do share them virtually and in the same spirit. So we look forward to that. Join us on Facebook Live. Join us on Watch. You can watch. Just Google search our church and find our church website. And we'll be streaming right there from the page, or Northland Cable, Channel 5. We'll be there at 11 o'clock. We love you. We pray for you. Let us know how we can help you and serve you. And God bless. We'll talk to you soon.